Hello, everybody. Oliver G here of the Earful Tower podcast, and I come with you today with what I think is a pretty good episode. Season 13, episode 2, and I'm taking you inside a place you have almost certainly never been. But first, a bit of an explanation. When you have gone up to Montmartre in the past, I would wager that you went and had a look at the Sacré-Cœur, the Basilica, the big white building with 3 domes on the top. You know what I'm talking about, right at the top of the hill. But did you know that just to the, I guess it's to the west of it, there's a little tiny church called the Église Cimetiere du Montmartre. It's a 12th century Catholic church, one of, if not the oldest churches in Paris. But that's not what fascinates me about this place. What fascinates me is to the side of it is a tiny, tiny little cemetery, absolutely petite, and you can see through the sort of bronze door there. It's a really cool door, actually. There's like figures of children sort of reaching out. You can peek through a little corner. But what I love the most about it is the sign to the side that you usually see at cemeteries and parks in Paris that says open Monday to Friday, etc., etc. This one just says opening hours November 1st. I found this to be very curious indeed, so I sent a direct message to the Mayor of Montmartre, Eric Lejoindre, the Mayor of the 18th arrondissement, to be specific. He's been on the show before. I felt like I could best get away with solving this mystery by messaging him. I said, "Hey, Eric, wondering if you can help me with a Montmartre mystery." He said, "Sure, what's the mystery?" I said, "Why is the Cimetiere du Calvaire, so the Cemetery of Calvary, only open one day a year, but more importantly, can you get me inside?" And he responded essentially yes. He responded yes. He said not only that, he said it's an old cemetery, there aren't any families coming, there's no space left, and the new priest in Saint-Pierre is a great guy. I'm sure he'd be okay to open it for us on a private visit. He adds, he's very proud of his district, he adds a fun fact. The 18th is the only arrondissement to have a calvaire in the street, the only one left in Paris on Rue de l'Évangile, and this one, which is beside the church. Now, for you guys who don't know what a calvaire is, I realize there might be some who don't know. In English, it's a calvary, a monument. It's a type of monumental public Christian cross, sometimes encased in an open shrine. You'll hear more about the one that I saw. I had no idea it was there. But I arranged with Eric to meet with the priest Alexandre Denis. You're going to hear both of their voices in this episode. And just to sort of explain what you're about to hear, because these on-the-go ones, there's an awful lot happening. You're going to hear me and the Mayor of Montmartre walking in to this cemetery, exploring it, briefly talking with Alexandre, the priest, and then we walk around the back. And just so you guys can picture it in your head, if you've been to Sacré-Cœur before, if you've stood there looking up at it from the front, we're right on your left. So you can even look through and see this Calvary and the back of the cemetery. So this is an on-the-go episode of the Earful Tower, made possible by the Patreon supporters. Join us, patreon.com/the Earful Tower, where the new guide PDF is waiting for you. But also, a quick note, we're on tour right now. If you're listening to this episode when it comes out, we're about to do 2 shows in Sydney. Check out all the tour dates on theearfultower.com, including Melbourne, coming up soon. I know there are a lot of you in Melbourne. Otherwise, take it away, Press Maxon, on the music for the mood, and I'm going to take you all to the smallest cemetery in Paris. Monsieur le Maire, ça va?
Toujours très bien.
It has been a long time since we have talked.
It has, hasn't it?
2 years?
At least 2 years.
So when we last did a walk show, I remember we met on Rue des Abbesses, my favorite street in Paris, probably. Although Rue Claire is
it's completely different.
What do you mean?
Well, Rue des Abbesses, it's a lot more open, and it's you have lots of tourists and people coming from all over Paris. Rue Claire is a smaller street, and it's really a very Parisian street, which is and people who go there are the people who live around it. So it's not the same atmosphere. And anyhow, the 18th is better than the 7th. So
I had a feeling that was exactly what you were about to say. Your job is to say that everything in the 18th is. Did I ask
it's
you?
an easy job.
That's true. I agree with you. I love the 18th. Did I ask you last time if you have what's your second favorite arrondissement after the 18th?
Yeah, we did.
What did you say? Do you remember?
No, I don't remember.
Yeah.
I probably said they were all great.
Yeah,
Probably I think I said the quatrième.
Yeah, well, that's a fair answer.
Yeah, because it's where I lived when I was a student, and because there's a part of the quatrième and the Marais which used to look like what today is Château Rouge and La Goutte d'Or, and then it changed in the 70s. But we have the same story. Le Marais was a very poor area at some point of time. So was Montmartre, and was or still is La Goutte d'Or. So we have real links. So I probably said that.
Yeah.
I think that most people who come to Paris consider the first place they stay at, where they really stay at, not just like for a few nights, but where they stay for a few months, as the best place in Paris.
Yeah.
And when I speak with my friends, all of them, their Paris is where they arrived at.
That's funny. That's interesting.
And it's really you should try it on people and ask them. And usually they'll say, well, that's where I settled for the first time, and I stayed, and then I moved because you move in Paris. But
so by that logic, my favorite place should be the second, the deuxième arrondissement, and Rue Montorgueil, which is where I used to live.
Although some people love Montorgueil, but
not you. Not unless it's the 18th.
Yeah. First, it's not the 18th, and then I really don't know Montorgueil much, and I think I never went before the new Bourse du Travail and stuff. So usually when you live in Paris, you go to Les Halles, you go, but second, I don't even know exactly what the second arrondissement is.
Well, it's not. Let's put it this way: it's not as interesting as the 18th,
Yeah,
which is what we're here to talk about today. I appreciate you taking the time to talk to me and the listeners again, and to do this video to paint the picture. We're standing on a beautiful blue sky kind of day in front of a church that's 870 years old, according to the sign out the front.
Probably the oldest in Paris.
Well, what's the deal with that? The difference? Notre Dame is around the same time, a little bit later.
But it's not in the 18th arrondissement.
Okay, fair enough. We won't stray from the 18th. But what's happening today is I messaged you a while back, and I said, because I'd seen this cemetery, and they used to have a sign out the front that I see isn't there anymore. And it used to say...
It's over there.
No, a little green sign. And I always love it because the parks in Paris always have these signs that say, open Saturday from 9 a.m., Sundays from 10 a.m., whatever. This one just said, opening times November 1st. And I found that very perplexing. And I sent you a message. I think I said there's a Paris mystery I need to solve. And we got chatting, and you offered to take me inside. Tell the listeners what you know about this cemetery and how often you visit.
Well, it's going to be my first time to visit it too, because it's closed most of the time, and it's closed most of the time because it's the smallest cemetery in Paris. It's one of the oldest, and so you can't have people walking in all the time because it would really destroy it. And so I had never had a chance to go inside, and I've been like you, wondering like I should go sometimes. And so when you messaged me, I said, okay, well, that's the point of time I need to walk in. So it's open on the 1st of November, which is the day all over France where people go and see their deceased family members, because you still have Montmartre who have families who are in this cemetery, and there's one very well-known family in Montmartre who has their ancestors over there. So it's still open sometimes, and look, we'll discover, because I've never seen it.
What do you and I'll end this here, but what are you expecting? Are you and you
Actually,
have to be honest.
I've seen it from the outside, so I kind of know what's inside.
Okay,
because when you visit the Calvaire, you can see it from the outside. So
I'm glad you said that, because that Calvaire concept, what does that mean?
It's well, you'll have to ask the priest, because he's going to come and tell us.
Is that the priest who just walked through the gate?
Exactly.
Perfect timing. Maybe I'll switch over to him. But I'm looking forward to experiencing this with you, and I can't wait to find out what's behind that big gate. Shall we do it?
Sure.
I just spoke with Monsieur le Maire, but maybe you could introduce yourself.
Yes, I'm Alexandre Denis. I'm the parish priest of Cimetiere du Montmartre. I'm here from about 1 year, since I'm here, and I'm a priest. I just celebrate masses, baptisms, weddings, and so on. And I'm living here from 1 year. Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
and what this cemetery that we're in?
Yes.
Monsieur le maire, the mayor, has never been inside. Most people have never been inside it.
Yes, because it's closed. It's always closed. It opens only twice a year for. I don't know how to say in English for the All Saints.
All Saints Day. Yeah.
It's All Saints Day, and from the Journée du Patrimoine when all monuments in Paris opens.
And I imagine when those... Have you been working here? You were here for the Monuments Day recently.
Yes, 1 year only.
Was it crazy? Like lots of people want to come in? Or?
Yes, a lot of people ask to visit this cemetery, but I don't have the keys. So
who has the keys?
This man.
The mayor.
Yeah.
Where are they? Do we have special keys for this cemetery? What do they look like? I imagine them to be like 1 meter long, like
they're completely normal keys.
Oh, what?
Small keys.
No, that's not fun.
No, because we're very modern.
Okay. Speaking of very modern, this cemetery isn't very modern. I think. Well, does anyone know how old it is?
I don't know. The church is from the 11th century, but I think the cemetery is more recent. So I don't know. Maybe 18th, 19th century.
1697.
1697.
It was given in 1688 by the Abbesse Benedictine de Montmartre, by a religious woman, a nun. To the church, and it became a cemetery. It was closed during the Revolution, and then it opened up again in 1801. You'll know everything. And then it was closed in 1823 because it was full, and it never reopened. Well, it's open, but it never.
Okay, so no one has been buried here since 1823.
Yep.
Okay.
Or maybe families.
Yes, I don't know, because 2 families still have a concession here.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's kind of weird for me that we're in... A lot of people consider Montmartre to be one of the most touristy parts of Paris, which is, I mean, at least with Sacré-Cœur and the Place du Tertre there. It's interesting for me that there's this corner of this very popular part of town that's just unvisited and empty. Do you think that it could be something that one day you'd want to be more accessible to people, or do you think people just, we keep this as it is?
I don't know.
It's not the only part of Montmartre which is close to the public, actually. Because when you have a very, very touristy place, you need to protect some parts of it. So we have gardens which aren't open to the public at all, next to the Musée de Montmartre, and it would probably not be very reasonable to imagine opening it up to the public. When you have 11 million tourists coming every year, you can't keep a place like this.
No.
And it's part of what Montmartre is, that you actually don't know all of Montmartre. And one of the reasons people come back to Montmartre is because they know that they haven't seen everything. So no, I think it's going to stay this way. I hope it's going to stay this way. At least as long as I'm mayor, it's going to stay this way.
I remember you said, and I've been meaning to go back and find this quote. Last time that you and I did a walk show and we were walking through Place du Tertre, you said that you thought I maybe knew Montmartre as well as you do.
Yeah. It's probably still true.
Oh no, I need to put that quote on the front of a book or something, because when I lived here for 2 years, I always looked for these secret places, these gardens and stuff, and I think we share that passion for your neighborhood. But speaking of doing this for the first time, I think what could be really cool, all of us, but especially I start with you, Eric, is, may I call you Eric?
Sure.
Good, okay. I think
No, you have to call me Mr. Mayor.
It has a much better ring to it in French, don't you?
Doesn't it?
Monsieur le
Yeah.
Maire, Mr. Mayor, it sounds kind of unusual. But what I think could be really cool if we just walk around together and explore and share our thoughts.
Actually, I have a list of everything which is inside, so I can tell you what it is.
Well, what's your first impressions now that you've walked in here? Like, my first impression, for the people at home who don't know what we're looking at, is the size of it is probably about the size of a basketball court.
It's 600 square meters.
Okay, I'll be curious what size of basketball court is.
I couldn't tell you.
Maybe a little wider, but we were on the back of a lot of buildings, the back of the church. That is a cool tomb there with the windmill on the top.
Well, Debray was the how do you call it? He possessed He was not the manager. He owned. He owned. I was looking for the word. He was one of the owners of this family's one, because Montmartre used to have lots of windmills,
Right.
because that's what people did over here, and you had at least two families who owned a few of the windmills, and Debré was one, and the other one is Radet, and you might remember the Villa Radet. When you walk around Rue Cortot, you have this huge house, this beautiful villa, which is now owned by the city and is a place where we do where you have artists staying in and painting and stuff.
Where is that? Tell me. No, you got me.
You take Rue Cortot and
Which one is Rue Cortot?
the one which goes around. You see the Musée de Montmartre.
Yeah.
Well, you continue,
Yep.
and then you know the bust of Dalida.
I know exactly where. That's Rue Abreuvoir.
Rue de l'Abreuvoir.
Yeah.
Well, it's over there. And so Radet was one of the owners, and Debré is the other family.
This is kind of cool trivia because nowadays in Montmartre you have the windmill at the Moulin de la Galette, the Moulin Rouge, the one behind the Galette,
Yeah, and that's it.
and this one,
And now this one.
and now this one.
Yeah.
We
Do you know
have
why it's called Moulin de la Galette? I
Uh,
just learned this a few days back.
Is it because the windmill made wheat that they made galettes out of or something
Yeah.
like that?
And
Wheat?
it's,
Yeah.
it's because they made wheat all week, and then on the Sundays the windmills were closed, and and because people who were in the windmills weren't that rich, on Sundays they would take what was left of the wheat and make galette out of it, and then they would sell it to people coming in, and then they would dance, and that's how the Moulin de la Galette was created.
I'm curious, you as the mayor, like, how do you learn these stories? Are you also always researching your neighborhood, or?
No, I met.
There
We decided this year to open up the town hall for the Journée du Patrimoine, and so we had a historian coming in and explaining all the stuff about the town hall, and so we spoke together. And he told me, "But you know why you have a moulin which is called Moulin de la Galette?" And I was like, "Of course not." And then now I know.
Well, I know
and so
the
people
painting.
bought those galettes to eat, and then the guys made some musicians come and they were dancing, and up. That's the beginning of it.
And then, Renoir
And then Moulin
captured
Rouge,
it.
and of course Renoir and all this tradition around the Moulin de la Galette. So in many towns you have windmills where next to them you have Moulin de la Galette or Galette, or because that's what they did with what was left of the wheat that they had made the whole week long. Ah, you didn't know?
No, I mean, every time I meet, we learn something new. So how many tombs do we think are in here? Maybe if...
Tell you.
You've got a cheat sheet. Well, there's number 32.
That's Debré family. That's this one. The most well-known owner. Oh, he was killed and nailed on his windmill, which he was defending during an attack of Montmartre in 1814.
So this is the head of the Debré in English would say, Debré family.
Yeah.
Killed and hung on his own windmill.
Yeah.
Jeez.
And
And then
so,
they put a windmill on his tomb.
Yeah.
That's a bit morbid.
and then his son, Nicolas Charles, transformed the windmill, which was at this time called Blut de Fin.
What does
And
Blut de Fin mean?
well, fin is fine, and Blut, I don't know. And then, so that's the Moulin de la Galette. And so his son is the one who created the bowl and the guinguette, and
Oh, wow, now this
his
is
son was painted by Renoir and Utrio.
Cool, okay, well that's a... Now I have to add...
So the son wasn't nailed on his...
What a gruesome history. Okay, onwards. So what were you saying, the Calvaire?
Calvaire, yes.
What is that in English?
The Calvaire is it's where the Christ were crucified.
Right.
It's called the Calvaire.
Okay.
It's the name of a little mountain where the cross were erected.
Okay, and so when you say Calvaire now, you're talking about that bit on the other side.
Yes.
Are we going to visit that now as well?
If you want, yeah, sure.
Absolutely.
Yes.
But
okay.
before we go, I'm interested. This is your first time walking in here, right?
Yeah.
What's your impressions?
Well, it's a very nice place, but it's a very quiet place, and I like to know that this Calvaire, this cemetery is just nearby the church, because the church is where we pray, and this is where this place is always quiet, and we always can be in silence. So I know this place is just right here. But
now that you know it's here, are you tempted to come with a cup of coffee and just sit and read the newspaper?
I could, but I don't have the keys.
Oh yeah, you need Eric for the keys.
Yeah.
We need to get you a set of keys for yourself.
Yes, please.
Surely there's a secret way in or something. No? You need to make friends with these neighbors up here. It looks like they could get in.
Yeah, I think so. But no, I don't have the keys, so I can't come here when I want.
Okay, well let's go and see this Calvaire, huh?
Okay.
It's incredible how it stays calm here, and it's super busy right on the other side of the wall.
That's such an interesting point, and it's often true for much of Paris. You can find hidden little spots. I know a lot of people. I'm interested in your thoughts on this. I've seen online in Facebook groups and stuff, there are people who say, Montmartre, don't go there, too many tourists. Because could I call myself Montmartre?
I think you can, yeah.
Yes, okay, good. I get offended because I think you can avoid the tourists so easily in Montmartre, and there's so much else to do. What do you think about that, people who say that? Too touristy.
What is true is that the touristy places are very touristy. But it's also bizarre to think that you'll come once in your life in Paris and you won't go to the Sacré-Cœur or you won't go to Montmartre. And for people who come once in Paris in their lives, I think even if you have lots of tourists, it's really nice to come here. But it's true also that especially in Montmartre, you have incredible places. You have to. Well, that's why people say that Paris is a city you have to walk in. Of course, if you come with metro and you just go to Sacré-Cœur and back, you won't see anything. If you walk here and you turn left and then turn right and then turn left again, you'll find absolutely incredible places, incredible views, incredible pictures, and actually really nice people too.
I agree, and it seems like there's a nice exchange going on. People maybe could hear in the background, there's a gentleman sitting on the back steps of the Sacré-Cœur playing, was it Edith Piaf just then?
Yeah, it was La Vie en Rose.
La Vie en Rose, and he has, can you see, he has an accordion with a cat on top of it.
Oh yeah.
There's a live cat.
A live cat? Or yeah, it's probably a live cat.
I don't know if it is alive. Well, look, his hand is moving. The cat is playing the accordion.
Yeah, it's a black cat on a black accordion, so it's kind of difficult to see, but yeah, you're probably right.
Is this the magic of Montmartre happening right in front of us?
Well, that might be a little touristy.
So it's too much.
It's just maybe a wee bit too much. But yeah, I mean, people come to Paris also to see what they believe Paris is. And that's important too, because from all over the world and all over France, people have this idea of Paris. And it's theirs, so it's important that it continues too. But then people who come here for a bit longer, or who have maybe more than a few days, or who are going to stay a couple of weeks, they can easily stay here 2 weeks or 3 weeks and in Montmartre and not see the same things every day. Mm-hmm. But I'm not all against this idea that people come here to see some kind of Paris, which is Paris, even if it's a bit, traditional or whatever. And people come in Paris also because it's something that's important for their lives. And I think we have to have respect also for this, and not continue to do stuff which don't exist anymore. But people dream of Paris, and they have to touch a bit of their dream too.
Well said.
Thank you.
I have one positive thing to add and two negative things.
Okay.
First, the gentleman was playing Charles Aznavour, La Bohème. I couldn't help but overhear. As the Mayor of Montmartre, is that your sort of national anthem? Or are you sick of it?
The national anthem of Montmartre actually is Le Temps des Cerises by Jean-Baptiste Clément.
Written in my house.
Yeah.
What do you think about La Bohème by Aznavour, though? Do you like it or are you sick of it?
You want to know the real truth?
Always.
I'm not a real fan of music anyhow. I don't really listen to music, which is really weird, and people look at me exactly like you're doing when I say this.
Yeah, I moved back a little bit. No, that's all right.
So what I feel is that Montmartre has inspired really, and lots of people and musicians, and I love the idea that Montmartre did this, and that this really incredible song that the whole world knows originated from a place like this. And it's true for Aznavour, it's true for Claude Nougaro, it's true for Edith Piaf, it's true for a lot of singers. I personally I'm not always moved by, but I'm not really moved by any music at all.
Are you moved by books?
I prefer reading. I love going to the theater, and I'm not that much of a music fan. But the idea that all of this originated here, that's what I like. And so I'm okay listening to it the whole day, just
Fair
because
enough.
I like the idea. And anyway, I don't really listen to it.
I've got the two negative points, and it might be a point of... I know this is something a lot of tourists think about. These locks on the fence. I want to talk about the locks on the fence, and I want to talk about the guys behind the locks putting bands on your wrists and asking for lots of money.
Yeah.
Is this a problem for you guys?
Yeah. Well, the guy cheating on tourists is a huge problem, and actually we work quite a lot with the police and to try to because it's not just individual; it's all gang of people doing this, and everything that gives cheats on people is bad, and especially on tourists, because they people in Paris know that you never give your arm and you never give them money, and you know it, but tourists don't. So that's a huge problem.
So what's your advice to tourists then who are walking up the steps to the Sacré-Cœur and someone says, "Hey,
Just go away.
You say go away to them?
Don't.
Or do you mean go away from them?
Go away from them.
Yeah.
Don't interact with people hailing you in the streets. I think we have a saying in English, which is, if it looks too good, it's probably not true. If it's too good to be true, it's probably not true.
Yeah.
So people aren't going to give you anything in the street. So take care of yourself and mind everything like this. And we're trying to work on limiting as much as possible all those things that consider that tourists don't know what's going to happen, and so it's an easy prey, and that's really horrible. And it's not at all the spirit of Montmartre and of Paris. So that's really a big problem.
And then what about these locks? For the people who don't know what I'm talking about, we're looking at the entrance of Sacré-Cœur. Today, as we're standing here, that fence must have 10,000 locks on it. Yeah. And that was a problem on the Pont des Arts. Yeah. They stopped it pretty well there. Yeah. I imagine this is an issue.
It's an issue. It's an issue for me as a mayor, because it's really heavy, and so it's dangerous. And so we're going to probably get rid of them a bit in the same manner as they did at the Pont des Arts, either by just kicking away all the crosses, the fencing, which actually nobody really remembers why this fencing was put and what it's for, because it doesn't prevent anyone from going on the other side, and there's no really any reason to prevent people from going on the other side. Maybe it's just for the security of children or something. Okay. But yeah, it's a problem because it's dangerous and it's heavy. And the thing is that we're in Paris, so people want to show their love to one another in Paris. So all those these locks thing is something that somebody had the idea of doing, and then everybody found out great, and they're doing it. So what we don't want to do is to get rid of a way for people to say I love you in Paris. So I'm not absolutely sure that the symbol of a lock is actually such a great symbol of love, but it's very weird that I would lock something, and so we've tried to push people to do other things, like in Japan they have these bits when they go praying, they have those papers, and you knot the paper on the tree, and it's a symbol. And so we try to but people do what they want to do, and it's not because the town hall is going to say, what we want you to do is take a paper and write your name. It's not going to work. But there are other ways that we need to offer to people to show their love in Paris.
But in one small way, you're now talking to 50 million listeners who want to come to Paris. What do you say to these guys when they say, I want to put a lock on the wall somewhere? What do you say to these people?
Don't.
There you go. That's easy. Let's move on. On that note, let's walk around to this Calvary. Eric, Monsieur le Maire.
Indeed.
Your third time on the show.
Already?
Yeah.
Yeah, we walked once, and you came in my office once.
Yeah, that was really fun. We went into the cave, remember?
Yeah.
And do you remember as well? You were at the Australian Embassy event.
Yeah, that was great.
I haven't done one like that since then.
Oh, the place is incredible.
Yeah. Do you have any good inside words for places that can do similar events?
I would have to think. I'm sure there are, but...
Would you let us do an event inside the mairie? Of the
Yeah.
Would you?
You're ready to pay?
How much does it cost?
It's probably not that expensive.
Oh.
Actually, we rent the rooms, but yeah, why not?
But surely you have the keys.
I hope I do.
Okay, I want to. All jokes aside, some final thoughts as we walk back towards the front. There were a lot of firsts for you today. I feel like you were a little bit excited, like going into that chapel for the first time, seeing these things. What are your final thoughts? Is it a memorable afternoon in the day of the life of a mayor?
Yeah, first it was fun, and it's nice to do fun things when you spend lots of time having to deal with problems. It's really cool to have nice afternoons like this, and it just goes to show that you have to be always on the lookout for new things, and actually you can see things that you haven't seen in the 18th century all the time. And that's what I love about being the mayor here, that I really have opportunities all the time to see stuff that I wouldn't have seen if I hadn't been the mayor. And for instance today.
And I can say on behalf of myself and all the people who are listening to this show, thank you for sharing your curiosity with my curiosity so that we can...
Well, it was your curiosity first, and then we built on your curiosity.
Well, thanks for building on it, because that was a really memorable day for me as well. And until I get the next idea of what to find, I'll see you then.
Tell me.
I will. Thank you very much, Monsieur le Maire.
You're welcome.
So there you have it. I'm going to keep it short. That was the Cimetiere du Calvaire. Hard to say, easy to find, hard to get into. We're in Montmartre for that episode. Merci beaucoup to Eric Lejoindre and Alexandre Denis. If you want to find that cemetery, make sure you are there on the 1st of November. Otherwise, try and befriend the mayor. It helps to get in. As for me, I'm traveling to Sydney and Melbourne and probably Canberra on the way, on tour for our new children's book, Grace the Giraffe in Paris, and our other children's book. Come and say hello. It's been so fun to meet listeners and readers across the east coast of Australia. Big shout out especially to Newcastle and Brisbane, where we had some really fun meetups. 18th and the 20th of October in Sydney at the Four Frogs Crêperie, Randwick and Mossman. And then at the end of the month, I think it's the 28th and the 29th, we'll be in Melbourne and Geelong. More info on the site. I'm looking forward to seeing you there. Otherwise, next week on the podcast, Edward Chisholm talks about his book, A Waiter in Paris. You guys are going to love that episode too. Be sure to subscribe, tell your friends. If you're in a positive mood, leave a good review. It warms the cold cockles of my heart to see that people are enjoying this show, and it helps other people to decide whether or not to listen to it. Otherwise, sign up as the newest Patreon member, patreon.com/the Earful Tower, and get that PDF guide to the city, 200 things to do in Paris. Oh, and one thing I forget to add all the time is the website, theearfultower.com. We took the photographer Augusta Sagnelli along with us to the cemetery, so if you want to see beautiful pictures, go on the website, we'll collect them all. We also made a little video, so check out YouTube if you really want to see inside this place. Just search the Earful Tower. Otherwise, social media, all these pictures will be there, give you an idea of what you've just been listening to. That's all for me. You've been listening to the Earful Tower. Merci beaucoup, and au revoir.